This simple crosscut sled has actually worked really well for me for many years, but it only does one thing. So today I'm building a modular crosscut sled system for my DeWalt table saw that can turn into multiple sleds. The whole thing starts with one simple design choice. In this video, we're just going to be building the base crosscut sled, but the idea is that this becomes the foundation for future attachments. Things like an adjustable auxiliary fence so you can cut at any angle you want, and a miter sled attachment. So instead of building a bunch of separate sleds, this becomes more like a system that can grow over time. And if you want to build this exact sled, I've got step-by-step plans available on my website. You definitely don't need them to follow along in the video, but the plans include all the dimensions and diagrams so you don't have to pause the video every 5 seconds to measure things off your screen. Before I get into the build, I do want to mention that any screws that go into the bottom of this sled should be pre-drilled and countersunk. That's just to make sure that you don't split the wood on top, and also that you're not dragging screws across the top of your table saw. It's also important to point out that a blade will eventually be cutting right through the middle of this sled, so try to keep all of your screws away from the path of the blade. Every good crosscut sled starts with the base. And for this base, I'm going to be using 3/4 inch plywood. It's going to be cut to 26 by 24 inches. You could make this crosscut sled bigger if you want, but I like a crosscut sled that feels like it supports the workpiece without feeling like I just put a fence and some miter guides on a sheet of plywood. If the jig gets too big, you'll probably just stop using it, and then it just becomes a very expensive shop decoration. I meant for this half sheet of plywood to be a joke, but it kind of would make an awesome sled. If you guys are like me, anytime you cut a big sheet of plywood like this, it always feels a little sketchy. And I try to avoid it. And there's a couple of ways that you can make it safer. The first one is to not use a table saw at all and use a track saw. Track saws are much better for ripping down big sheets of plywood like this. Frankly, I just didn't want to get it out because I'm feeling lazy. But I have two things going for me that you may not have going for you. I have an outfeed table. It's a folding outfeed table, and I actually have plans for that on my website as well if you're interested. And that helps support this workpiece so much better, so it didn't feel like it was going to fall off the end of the table. The second thing I have going for me, I know this is going to sound like I'm plugging products, but I guess I sort of am, but at the same time, they're both very awesome products. The next thing would be these Jessam stock guides. They're holding the piece of plywood to the table and to the fence. Now, in this case, because the fence isn't fully supported out here, they don't work quite as well, but they're still helping support this piece of plywood so it's not falling off the end of the table. So safety first, and in this case, spending that little bit of money on these things can help a lot when ripping down big sheets of plywood like this. Next, we need some runners in the table saw's miter slats to keep the sled tracking straight. Most miter slats are 3/4 of an inch wide and 3/8 of an inch deep. But every saw is a little bit different, so you'll want to size the runners to fit your saw. You want them to be snug, but still able to slide smoothly. Most people like to make their runners out of hardwood, which is fine. I like to use these UHMW pre-made runners, and the reason I do is because they're slick, stable, and they don't swell with humidity like wood can. Which is actually really nice, because I live in Wisconsin, and my shop humidity seems to fluctuate somewhere between desert and tropical rainforest. Ideally, I would have used one piece of UHMW plastic, but these only come in 17 inches as far as I can tell, and I need 24 inches. So I'm gonna have to put this piece and then another smaller piece in the miter slot and then glue that on. I think it's gonna be totally fine though, because the miter slot is going to align them perfectly. If you guys know where I can find some 24-inch UHMW guides, please drop a link in the comments. To install the runners, I drop a few coins or washers into the miter slots. This lifts them slightly above the table's surface. I also like to put some masking tape on top of the table saw to protect it from getting glue on it. Next, I'll apply some CA glue on the runners and some accelerator on the base. Then I place the sled base on top and temporarily glue everything together. I'm using the fence to help set the distance to the first runner and to keep the base square to the guides. Once the glue dries, I flip the sled over and add a few screws from the bottom so nothing can move later. These holes should always be pre-drilled and countersunk. The UHMW slides come with pre-drilled countersunk holes. If you're using your DIY hardwood guides, the pre-drilled holes are critical. I like these bits that drill the hole and countersink the holes all at once. I put a link to these in the video description. Now this is always a slightly stressful moment because the first time you slide the sled, you either feel like a woodworking genius, or it jams halfway through and you start questioning all your life decisions. Luckily, this one slides perfectly. Next, we trim the sled to its final size. First, I tilt the blade to 45 degrees and I cut a bevel along one edge. This gives the blade clearance if I ever want to make bevel cuts with this sled. However, if I wanted to use my sled this way often, I'd probably want to add a side support table. Then I flip the sled around and trim the opposite edge so the sled ends up exactly 24 inches wide. Now we've got a clean reference edge to work from. Before installing anything else, we need to make the front and rear fence pieces. Both fence pieces are made from 3/4 inch plywood, and the rear fence is laminated from 2 pieces to make it thicker and more rigid. The front fence can also be laminated from 2 pieces of plywood. When laminating plywood pieces together, spread a thin layer of wood glue between them and clamp them firmly. One trick that helps is to clamp a straight edge along the face while the glue dries. That just helps keep the pieces aligned so the fence cures nice and straight instead of drifting during glue up. Once the glue dries, you can trim everything flush. But for this build, I'm actually going to use 1 piece of plywood with an aluminum multi-track fence screwed to the front. Link down below. Before cutting the T-track slots, we need to make a small reference cut in the sled base. Just raise the blade and run the sled forward a few inches. This kerf will help locate the T-track dado slots. To cut those slots, I use a router with a straight edge clamp to the sled. The straight edge guides the router so the cut stays perfectly straight. The slots need to be 3/4 of an inch wide and 3/8 of an inch deep. Take a couple of light passes instead of trying to cut the full depth in one go. If your router's fighting you like mine was, it's probably because you're cutting in the wrong direction. Try cutting it in the other direction and it'll probably work a lot better. I just want you guys to know that I make tons of mistakes and I'm human too, and sometimes I forget my own tips. So keep that in mind when you're using your router and you're cutting these dado slots. And while it doesn't look ideal, this will not hurt the function of this sled one bit. Once the slot is cut, the T-track should sit perfectly flush with the sled's surface. If it's proud of the surface, your workpiece won't sit flat. Once everything fits correctly, the tracks get screwed down. Again, pre-drill and countersink the screws and make sure the screws don't poke through the bottom. You can grind the screws down if needed. Next, we install the rear fence. This is the small fence at the back of the sled that keeps the sled rigid after the blade eventually cuts through it. This piece just needs to be centered between the middle T-tracks. Once it's positioned correctly, glue and screw it into place. Now we move on to the front fence, which is where accuracy really matters. Once that's assembled, we can install the fence onto the sled. But before doing that, we need to make another cut in the sled. Run the sled through the blade so the cut goes about 90% of the way through the base, stopping a couple of inches before the end of the fence. That cut becomes the reference for aligning the front fence. When installing the front fence, do not use glue. You want this fence to remain adjustable. Start by installing just 1 screw from the bottom so the fence can pivot slightly. Then align the fence using the reference cut with a square and clamp it down. Then put a second pre-drilled and countersunk screw in the fence. If the fence isn't perfectly square, you can remove one of the screws to make a small adjustment. If you remove screws during adjustment, you should drill new holes instead of using the old one. If you're using the aluminum multi-track fence, you can also make very fine adjustments by placing thin shims between the aluminum extrusion and the wood fence. Even something as thin as a piece of paper can help dial it in. And if you want to get extremely precise, this is where the 5-cut method can be used to verify and fine-tune the squareness of the fence. I have other videos on my channel where I explain how to do this. Once everything is dialed in, add the remaining screws to lock the fence in place. One quick note. If you're using a saw with a flesh sensing safety system like a stop saw, cutting aluminum with those saws can trigger the safety brake. So if you're using an aluminum fence like this, you may need to temporarily disable that feature or add some clearance to make sure the blade never contacts the aluminum. Definitely something to be aware of before making your first cut. The last piece is the safety block, which is just two pieces of plywood glued together. It gets glued to the sled behind the blade path. It's really just a reminder that the blade may poke out of the back. So if the blade pokes out of the back, your fingers will be out of the way. Some people like to paint it red. Woodworking can be dangerous, so anything that helps keep your fingers attached is generally considered a good feature. And now with the T-tracks and the multi-track fence, I can add all sorts of cool things later, which is exactly why I wanted to upgrade from my old sled. And this is just the beginning. In future videos, I'll be building attachments that mount directly to this sled. Things like an adjustable auxiliary fence for cutting any angle and a miter sled attachment. So this sled could eventually become the center of a pretty versatile system. If you want to build this exact sled, the full plans are available on my website, and I'll put a link in the video description. They're the exact plans I used to build this sled, and they include all the dimensions and diagrams. And if you enjoy practical woodworking projects like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep making projects like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.